Hello everyone. In this video, we will see how we can write subqueries inside a select clause. Use these subqueries inside a select clause within a subquery with aggregation functions. These are very useful to gather simple statistics that will be used across every record in the outer query. Let us take a small example and try to understand this. Suppose we have a transaction table which gives us information of all the transactions a user has done and even the store from which the user has purchased the product. For simplicity, let me consider we have here 6 columns. The first is the transaction ID, then we have the customer ID, then the product ID, and then we have the store ID, then we have the quantity, that is how many number of units of that particular product was sold for that transaction, and finally we have the price column, that is price for one quantity. Now our problem is we need to find out how much percentage each store has contributed to sales. So notice here we need to find for each store. That is, we need to group by the store ID. So let us take the first store ID, that is 36001. So in our table we have 3 records or 3 transactions of the store ID 36001. Each transaction has different quantities and different prices. Similarly, 36002 has only one transaction. 36003 store ID has 2 transactions. Now we need to find out the contribution to the sales. So currently in our entire table, the total sales is 4656. And how did we get that? As I said, the price column is for per unit or per quantity. So let us take the first row. So the first row, the first transaction, the total sales is 120. That is 3 into 40. The 3 is the number of units into 40. That is price of each unit. Similarly, we do for all the rows. And finally, when we add that, we get total sales is 4656. Now we need to find out the percentage of each store. So we will get the output as 36001 store has 92.44%, 36003 has 3.35% of sales, and 36002 has 6.01% of sales. Let me show you one explanation of this. So if we consider 36002, how are we calculating its sales? First, we are finding out the total sale for just that store ID. So in our case, the total sale of 36002 store ID is 4 into 70. That is equal to 280. Now we will divide this with the total sales in our entire table. And the total sales is 4656. And that we have seen how we calculated. We multiplied the quantity and price of each row and added all of the rows. And then we do into 100 to get the percentage. So this way we've got each store ID with the percentage of how much it has contributed to its sales. Now let us go to Metabase and try to write the query for this with a larger data set. So first, let us see our table which we will be using. Select star from transactions e-commerce. So here we have n number of columns and we have many transactions with the transaction ID. Now, we are concentrating on the column store ID, and for the sales, we will be concentrating on column quantity and price INR. As I said, the price here is for per quantity. So, for 3600, for the first record or the first transaction, the sale would be 2 into 192. So, let us break this problem and go step by step. First, let us just group by our store ID and get the sum of each store ID sales. So I will select by I will select my store ID column, and what I will add my quantity column into price INR column, and I will group by store ID. Let me run this. So this will return me, it will return each store ID, unique store ID, because we have grouped by store ID, and then it will add the quantity multiplied by price INR column. So let me break even this problem. So if we do not group by store ID, and if we run this, here I get store ID for each record. I am multiplying the quantity and the price INR, that is the Indian rupees. So I am getting that for the first transaction. For the first transaction ID, for the store 36001, the sale was 384. For the next transaction, same store 36001, the sale was 240. Now I need to group by store ID and get the sum or the total of sales. That is why I have used the sum aggregation function. On the same column, quantity into price INR, and I am grouping by store ID. So this will be our output. Now I need to get the percentage. For percentage, what I need to do, for each record, that is for the first record 18,608, I need to divide it by the total sales. So how will I get the total sales? Select sum of by transaction e-commerce. So the total sales is 1,29,524. So I need to divide each of the stores value with this number. So here I will just divide, and I will put this subquery here. Now let me run this. So we have got the store ID and the total number of sales in percentage. Since we needed it percentage, I will just multiply with 100. I will copy this query below, and I will multiply with 100, and I'll give an alias name to this column as percentage. Now let me run this. So we see we've got the store ID and the percentage. Let me even order by percentage so that I get the highest sales on top. Now let us run this query. So you see the highest sales is for the store ID 36002, that is 19.6%. The next is 36000, which is 14.75. Similarly for other stores. Now let us see a summary of the subqueries which we have seen in the select clause. We have seen that we have used a subquery with the aggregation functions. In our case, we use the aggregation function sum. We also saw that it is used for getting simple statistics. In our case, we got the percentage of total sales for a particular store ID. Let us see a syntax for this. Okay, in the next video, we will see some more subqueries. Thank you.